Welcome back to the CoTrackPro podcast. This is Doug DeVitri, your host. I have a very special guest, Woody Mosten. He's the owner of the online academy for mediation. He's been doing this since, I guess, 1979. He's written several books, and is also a professor at the UCLA School of Law. Welcome, Woody. How are you today?
I'm great, Doug. Thank you for having me.
Well, take us back, right? Because you've been in the mediation world for a long time. I saw the date 1979, but I don't want to misspeak. And that was a time when people weren't doing collaborative law. Maybe you can take us back on when you first started and how you decided to leap into collaborative law as a practice.
Do you want to talk about collaborative law? Or do you want to talk about mediation? Because
Well, I
they're
guess
the
there's, I
same.
guess that's two different things. Um, let's talk about the mediation because I think that's probably what you're focused most on right now.
Well, and it's where I started. Um, I very much wanted to find a way to keep people out of court because people get sick in court. I don't mean sick of court. I mean truly ill or die. It's a very stress-provoking experience, and no one ever wins. So at the time, there were three family mediators in Los Angeles. And then two of them left for Hawaii. They were smart. I was there, right near the airport on Sepulveda Boulevard. And I got more calls for medication and meditation than I did for mediation. People didn't know what it was. I felt that if I could just hang on long enough, I sort of dreamed about it. Maybe people would actually call me. We'd have client families in my office that we kept out of court. So slowly, and I mean very slowly, I built it up. And it took about 8 years before there was a magic moment where I spent less money to try to develop mediation than I actually had income. It didn't stay for very long. I then went back into the expenses. And you think, well, that's not very optimistic. That's not very positive. But when you think about it, that was 1986. Think about what you were doing in 86. And I've been profitable since then. People still keep calling. I just last week got a call from somebody. I did his divorce. I mediated his son's divorce. And when he called me, I was fearful it would be his grandson's divorce. But fortunately, he was just calling to say hello, how wondering how I was doing, and it was very nice to hear from him. That's a nice call, and it's nice to get. I won't say flowers, but it's nice to get fruit and candy around Christmas time, and people actually appreciate what you do.
Yeah, that's really
Lawyers,
great.
yeah, lawyers and mediators don't have to be the enemy. We are actually here to help.
Well, let's take a step back and really define what mediation is, right? Because I think probably different folks have their own definition. Why don't you just tell us what mediation is?
Well, it's such a good question. There are many definitions, and in my trainings, I talk about the various ways that people could mediate. So let's just start with the basics. You have one, maybe two neutrals. You have the parties. That's the pod. That's where it starts. And hopefully that's where it finishes. Many people want to have lawyers join. I think it's a great thing. People think, oh, the lawyers are going to destroy the mediation. No, not the right lawyers. The wrong lawyers might. And so the book I wrote in 23 was How to Represent Clients in Mediation. And many lawyers, I'm one of them, devote my whole practice never going to court. And they focus how to help clients get through the process and never have to go to court.
So what are the advantages of using mediation as opposed to going to court, having a trial, and trying to what you think might be the best outcome for yourself or your family?
It's very interesting, Doug. I don't think many people want to go to court. They may be right, but they don't want to have to go through that incredible maelstrom. On the other hand, most lawyers are trained, that's where they go. You go there and you get leverage, and from leverage, you negotiate the deal that you want. Well, from there, you also might get retaliation, and you also might get incredible conflict. And people don't know. People just don't know the differences among lawyers. So
Yeah, where do you go to learn this? I mean, I think if historically, yeah, attorneys are trying to get the best deal for their clients.
they are. They're professionally competent, and most lawyers really care about their clients. But they were trained in a different paradigm. They were trained, let me get that leverage, be the first one to file in court, and then I might get a good deal for my client. And if I can't get the best deal, the judge will work it out. Well, you never know what the judge is going to do. And by the time you get there, some of the problems have either been solved or even more worrisome, they've gotten worse.
Yeah, that's really good. So what are some of the steps you would say when you first decide, okay, what are we going to do what are we going to do during mediation? What does that process look like?
You work with your mediator. First, you got to pick who you want to work with. What kind of a background do you want her to or him to have? Um, are you feeling comfortable with that person? Is it online or is it in person? Um, do you want to just do it with your spouse, or do you want to have a lawyer there? Do you want to work with a with a consulting therapist or financial person who can actually help with getting people through this? There's a lot to learn. People are not born clients. It's not a DNA property. It, you don't learn it chromosomally. Mediators or their lawyers have to teach people how to succeed in mediation. Pardon me. However, because it's about 90% successful, the process can be magic in and of itself. And people who have no confidence that they'll get through come through all right.
So, and like, let's say that the divorced couple, right, is getting ready for this mediation process. What are some of the things they can do to best prepare themselves um, mentally, right? Because it can be emotionally draining, but also making sure that they're following the rules that the mediator might produce.
Who gave you all these wonderful questions, Doug? This is good. Um, Number one, the first thing that they can do is not have major conflict. Don't make it worse.
Mm.
Second, do it early. Don't say, okay, let's try to do it ourselves. And then if that doesn't work, then we'll bring in lawyers and mediators. Usually it escalates. The earlier that there's resolution, the better off the family, which is the opposite of what litigators say. What litigators say is you wait until people have all the disclosure of finances and that the the emotions of separating kind of um, thaw a bit, and then you try mediating, which really means when it gets closer to trial, and people often run out of money. Best is to do it where the family keeps their money and mediates early. But
Yeah,
it's
that's a
not
novel idea
hard.
to keep your money.
It is.
Yeah.
And money is not just for most people dots on a portfolio. Money is where do their children go to school? Can they go to
Mm.
camp? Will they have enough money for college? Will they be able to live in a community that's safe and where the kids can have a continuation of their friends? I mean, this is important stuff. And so often you'll have, for example, people fighting over who stays in the house. The worst fight people can have. They love their children. One of them will move out. Maybe have the community pay or the family pay for another apartment and go to a mediator early. That should be their first call to a mediator.
Yeah, that's really great. And, you know, based upon a mediation session for a family, let's say they can't agree on anything. Well, how many decisions would you say that a family has to make in order to come together so that everything's crystal clear here now in the short term and also in the long term?
Between 250 and 300 decisions.
Wow.
And most of those decisions are just basic protocols and work. How do you file your income taxes? How are you going to do your um, insurance? How do you work out um, after school care? These don't have to be conflictual, but when people don't trust each other, when they don't talk very well together, everything can become a crisis. Like
Yeah, sure.
high
And
con-
go
in a
ahead.
high conflict couple, cleaning out the garage can be a horrible situation.
Mm.
So in a mediation that's high conflict. By the way, most of the people don't walk in holding hands and singing Kumbaya. Most of the people have the exact same conflicts as the people who go to court. And it's up to the mediator to help them through it.
Yeah, this is really good. And then let's say that these individuals come to some sort of mutual understanding, you know, 5 minutes after the session. How does that even get enforced for what the mediator helps solve?
Are you saying once they make an agreement, how do people stay to that agreement?
Sure. How do they hold themselves accountable to the agreement?
We've had people searching that for the last 50 years. And the answer is, what are the options if they don't?
Mm.
I'll give you an example. I like to treat a relationship of a divorcing couple much like a bank account. You want as much positive deposits and as few withdrawals. Every time someone says yes, it is a positive deposit. Every time they say no, it's a withdrawal. If their account is empty, when they really need some help, the chances are they won't be able to get over the finish line.
Mm.
So, my job and all mediators' jobs are to help people understand why it's in their self interest and the interest of their children to look for options, to listen, to be able to restate what their um, soon to be former spouse said. Remember, no one made them get married, they made a choice. And most of the time, they make a choice to have a child.
Mm.
But even without a choice, they love that child. And so it's up to them. Do they make decisions so they're taking care of their children, or are the children forced to take care of their parents? I'll give you another example. I used to be a soccer coach for my daughter, and I know what it takes to do well on the soccer field. You cannot play good soccer if you're worried about taking care of the parents who will both come to see you. And if you get hurt, they're going to be running, each with their own water bottle and band-aids, trying to take care of you, and maybe even pushing each other off. What's important? It's important for that child not to necessarily score goals, but to have fun and gain some skills. If parents can understand that, they're in much better shape. So we go through parenting guidelines, etc. Now, you asked about collaborative law, which happens to be my favorite. You read about it in my bio. And one of the reasons it's so great is each party has a lawyer and they're aligned so that the lawyer works with the client in a non-adversarial way. And if I'm representing dad, mom's lawyer is my partner. They work together.
That seems so foreign, right? Especially from what most people might have witnessed in the past. Tell me your experience of what it's like when you consult with one of your clients who happens to go through this process and you tell them that you're in collaborative law.
Oh, they don't know what it means. They don't know what it means to have a lawyer disqualification agreement. Should I explain that?
Yeah, please. I'd love to. Love to hear that.
If any party goes to court, both lawyers are fired. They've got to
Mm.
get new lawyers. And what lawyer likes to be fired? Lawyers like to cash checks. They don't want to lose clients. So it is a commitment by the clients and the lawyers that they will do everything possible to work the family outside of the court system. In fact, many courts have special little places for collaborative cases, so people don't have to go to hearings along the way. That disqualification agreement
Mm.
provides what we call in collaborative, and what I train my students to, a safe container. It's a place where everyone is treated with respect and dignity. And it also has about a 90% success rate. Mediation and collaborative are both up there.
It sounds like you're selling a house, right? So you've got the buyer agent represent one party, you got the seller's agent represent the other party. If you can't come to agreement, guess what? There's no paycheck.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And the other thing about a collaborative is that there are interdisciplinary teams. So you'll have a, a parenting specialist, or you'll have a financial consultant who will help with budgeting. You don't have to use lawyer bills and fees for that. And we have practice groups all over the world where people can call up locally and get um, a collaborative list of people, like on the one in San Diego or Orange County or LA. My face is on those. But don't just go with my face. There are a lot of nice faces.
Well, that's really great. What would you suggest to a family that's kind of on the fence for this? Because I would imagine just like you can't sell there's some houses you just can't sell, right? There's some families you just can't help with this collaborative approach.
What's the loss? The courthouse will be there next year. If you can save tens of thousands of dollars and you have a high rate of success of 90%, wouldn't most people bet on 9 to 1? I would. And so also, I have to tell you, mediators and collaborative professionals are really nice people. They're peacemakers. My next book is called The Family Lawyer as Peacemaker. So you're not talking about sharks and about crop burners. You're talking about professionals who understand the law, but they understand people more. People say, well, it's a tough case, difficult issues, difficult finances. People are stuck over the children. Wrong. Law is 10 to 20% of any case. Most of it's emotion.
Mhm. Wow, I mean, I can just think about a peaceful attorney, right? And I think that was one of the reasons why I reached out to you because that seems such a positive um, area to expand upon. Maybe you can give us a sneak peek as far as what's inside the book and what to expect from it.
Well, first thing, there's a chapter on lawyer is compassionate healer. Compassionate healer. When would you put those two words together with lawyer, right? Compassionate healer. There are tremendous wounds, like ruptures that go on when a family, and I don't say ever breaks up, I say restructures.
I
It's
like that.
also the terms that are used. So if you don't, most family lawyers don't have a clue what that means. That's one of the reasons we wrote this book. For lawyers, okay, ready? Sit down, put your seatbelt on, to be legal wellness providers. You might say, what is he smoking? What I'm smoking is to be a wellness provider, you prevent conflict. So when people are going through the separation and then afterwards, maybe have parenting meetings when there's no trouble, a preventive parenting meeting. You'd like to think that our countries, our nations would have similar kinds of events. Sometimes we try working at that. I'll give you another example, and that is what a peacemaker can do to be ready to help people who are overwhelmed with conflict. We have one little piece by a wonderful lawyer in Canada, and I keynoted the conference called Family Peacemakers Conference. And she writes, mediators and lawyers need to keep our own mirrors clean.
Mm.
We have to be able to see ourselves. If we're not working from the inside out and we aren't living out our what we ask from our clients, they pick it up like that.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. You know, in your go ahead.
Now I was going to say, and there's a chapter there for judges. So we have a judge who used to, before she got appointed to the bench, and now many more are being appointed everywhere, that were mediators or collaborative lawyers. And her name is Elizabeth Potter Scully. She's brilliant, went to Harvard and studied um, Latin and Greek, and then she went to law school. And when I was teaching at UCLA, I brought her in to be a co-teacher, and then eventually, um, I when I opened up the academy, I didn't have really time to do both, and she took over that class. She teaches other judges how to be peacemakers. And she talks about how to treat the other lawyers in a peaceful way and how to treat these poor people who never expected to find themselves in court in a humane, understanding, and compassionate.
It sounds to me like it's a really great opportunity to train the future lawyers, right? The ones who in school now who are preparing for their law degree, so they can really find this new way that helps, uh, kind of what CoTrackPro does. It helps protect families and put them back together. So I'm interested in Woody in some of the training programs that you have. I think you have an online course and you do some virtual stuff.
They're all online, but they're online synchronous. It isn't like you turn on a film and read a film. No, you get me, and I'm going to ask you questions. Everybody's got to have their cameras on. It's very interactive. I make it as interactive as if everybody is in a classroom, even if they're coming in from India or Europe or Eurasia.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's really great.
so I'll just give you an idea of some of them. Today is Tuesday. It won't be Tuesday when people see this or hear this necessarily. But 2 days from now, I'm going to have a master class. And in that master class, I will I will be teaching the professionals some of the things that I've developed through my 9 books and 100 articles and all the trainings. But it's mostly from me and how what I've developed. But in my other training classes, I bring in the experts from all around because we all stand on each other's shoulders.
Well, I love that because it seems like you're truly collaborative, not just in the sense of collaborative law, but you're collaborative with the team that you're able to support your community. So I love that.
You can't do it on our own. I'm still learning. I'm still in training. A good mediator is always, no one has ever become a full artist. We're all aspiring for artistry. And that is what a good mediator is about. And a good mediator is always asking the questions. And some lawyers say, well, if you don't have the answers, the clients would just go away. They don't understand people. People appreciate when you say, I don't know. I'm going to help you find the answer, or let's find it together. And that's what we do in mediation. I don't pretend to be an expert on everything, but I will find experts to bring in, and I will hopefully have them ask the right questions so we will get to the answer and we'll get it financial viable way, quickly, without more conflict.
Well, Woody, I really appreciate you sharing some of these ideas. I know they're going to be profound for those who are kind of going through this process, and also for the attorneys who are watching this. They'll be able to understand that there is a better way to help their clients, not just in the short term, but the long term. So thank you again.
My pleasure. But I also want to say, really good litigators are hard to find. It's a different product, but as I said, most lawyers really care about their clients. If judges, I know we want to wrap up, but if judges only solve and make orders on 5% of all the cases that are filed, and that's all it is, what happens to the other 95%? That's where mediation and collaborative practice come in. And I really appreciate, Doug, that you've given me this forum. It's what I live for. Peacemaking is my life's work, and I hope to be doing it for a number of years to come.